All right. So, all right. So I'm recording the presentation. Recording the presentation. So if anyone wants to review the presentation, you can just go to Ray Rock live stream, and you'll be able to access the presentation for last week as well as this week. All right. So, um, Ms. Watson, you can go to YouTube and type in Rail Rock, RALEROCK, and you'll be able to access the presentation from last week. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, before you start, where we is today?
Pardon?
Where are we today? This background.
Oh, all right. My son is in South Korea, and
Oh,
he sent a picture to me. So I love this picture.
yeah, we in Korea today, guys.
Yeah. Next week, you want to go to China, or you want to go
I
to
would
China now?
love that. I would love to go to China.
We would love it, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. I will. Okay, so to China.
We're not eating any dog though.
No. No, sir.
No. Okay, we're in China. We're at the
Sir, not
birth.
this week, next week.
Next week? Okay. All right. Next
If we
week.
go to China now, we could go to Dubai next week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
All right. Next week, we'll be in China. All right. Someone just joined in 548-951-2693. Who's that person? Hello? Person that joined with a number. Who is the person's name?
Me, sir?
That's Aaron, no? No.
Yeah, is it Aaron?
548? 548
No,
951.
no, I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, that ain't you. I know.
Right.
Hello?
Sir, 548
That's Ranisha.
951 is the thing,
Is who?
the access code.
So
Nah, the person was just talking.
Oh, yeah, come in.
Is Ronisha?
Renisha?
Yeah.
Renisha
One of
Williams?
my computers shut
Oh,
down like out of the way, so I just doing both.
oh,
So
okay,
the
okay.
number is me also.
Okay, all right. Yeah, just
Mm.
want to know, um, just in case somebody come in, I want to take over the presentation. All right. All right, so it's being recorded. Um, so last week we would have looked at the beginning of the presentation, how food handling practices cause foodborne illness. All right. Um, we we would have given the we would have been given the definition for food. Anybody could tell me what is the definition for food? What is food? What is food? Anybody?
Any anything solid or liquid that
Yeah,
can be digested. I don't know.
yeah,
Like
available for human
Available for
consumption.
human consumption, yeah.
All right. Includes drinks and chewing gum.
Yes.
All right. Anything that you use in the manufacture, preparation, and treatment of food is also food. So we're looking at additives. We're looking at um, we're looking at preservatives. Those are what we would call they once they're used in the preparation, treatment, or manufacture of food, we can designate them as food. So we look at food handling, and we said that when we're looking at food safety, we're looking at from when we're looking at food handling, we're looking at any activity that is started from from farm to fork. Everybody remember that?
Yes, sir.
Farm to fork, from harvesting to consumption. So that would include transportation. You agree with me? Anybody can answer?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That would include storage. Anybody can tell me how many types of storage you have? And you can name them too. How many types of storage are there? You have hot storage, right?
Yes, sir.
You have
Cold storage.
cold storage, right? And dry storage. And cold storage or wet storage can be divided into chill or frozen. So again, you're looking at the activity that happens in dry storage. You're looking at the activities that happen in wet storage. You're looking at any activities that are happening within hot storage. So you're looking at storage, you're looking at preparation, you're looking at cooking, you're looking at cooling, and then storage again, and then reheat. So there are a number of stages that you have to make sure that the food is fit for human consumption. All right. We also look at the definition for food safety. All right. So how many hazards are there? How
2.
many hazards? The two? Or name them, please.
Biological. No, 3.
Mhm.
Biological, chemical, and physical.
Okay. Biological, chemical, and physical. And we are saying that whenever we prepare food, store food, or presenting food, you have to do it in such a way to reduce the significance, which hazard? Which
Repeat
hazard?
that one, sir. Repeat that one.
When we are preparing food, when we are storing food, when we are presenting food, we have to do it in such a way as to reduce the significance, which hazard?
Biological.
Why?
I don't know, sir. Um, you have to reduce the organisms to insignificance,
Yeah, why you have to reduce them to insignificance?
right? So that you can eat them.
Okay,
So they're
all right.
safe to eat.
Right. You have to reduce them because when you reduce them to insignificance, the food is safe to consume. And you cannot get rid of all the bacteria. Right, Miss Watson? Miss Watson?
Sir, I think that was Connell, not Watson.
No, I want Miss Watson to come in. You mean Kanisha?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. So um I hope people aren't just signing in and disappearing, all right? Because today is Watson's first day. All right. So you want to make sure that the food is safe. So Mr. Griffith, anyone the Griffiths can answer. Camilla, answer this one. So you will say, you can say that food can be 100% safe, right?
Yes.
Okay. Why can you say that um food is 100% safe?
Um, I'm not sure.
You're not sure? All right, remember we said earlier, right? That you want to reduce the organisms to insignificance. Remember saying that?
Yes.
We agree to that. Now, once the organisms have been reduced to insignificance, then the food is 100% safe. The remaining organisms, when we consume them, would not make us sick, depending on the type of organisms that we're dealing with. I have to put that in brackets, depending on the type of organisms that we are dealing with. All right?
Yes, please.
Good. Now, when we are preparing, storing, and presenting foods, we have to do it in such a way to eliminate which hazard or hazards. The other Griffith.
Sorry, Griffith.
Okay, when we are preparing, storing, or presenting foods, we have to do it in such a way to eliminate which hazards. Which?
Chemical, physical, or biological?
No, just two. Just the remaining two. Chemical and physical. Remember that we are going to reduce in significance the biological hazards. We can't get rid of all the bacteria. Bacteria are always here, but we can reduce them, we can control them. But when it comes to chemical hazards and physical hazards, we have to eliminate them. We have to get rid of them. All right. For instance, if I bought piece of fish and I didn't expect to I didn't think bone would be in it, so I bit down hard. All right, and the bone stuck me in my gum. All right. Um, so that for me was a physical hazard. All right. When you buy fish, you don't expect bone. All right, you don't expect bone. So that'd be a physical hazard. Now, if it had the smell of kerosene oil, then I would have to eliminate. If it had the smell of bleach or whatever. All right. Um, all right, hold on a minute, please. All right. So when we let us look back at the the definition for food safety. We are saying that when we are preparing, storing, or presenting foods, we have to reduce the significance of the biological hazards. We have to reduce the amount of salmonella. We have to reduce the amount of Shigella. We have to reduce the amount of E. coli. All right. When we are preparing, storing, or presenting foods, we have to eliminate any bleach or any preservatives. We have to eliminate any hair or foreign matter. All right. Everybody got that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right. Okay. All right. So Shania, you are speaking on behalf of everybody. All right. Look, so. All right. Um. All right. So we also look at contamination. What we said about contamination. Anybody else?
An intended presence of or harmful substances in food,
Yeah.
or anything that threatens the wholesomeness of food.
So, for Lisa Hall, I want you to answer this one. So you will tell me that wholesome food is good food, eh? For Lisa Hall.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And unwholesome food would be bad food. In public,
Yes, sir.
right. So in public health, we have what we call a wholesome food certificate and an unwholesome food certificate. So when we go to the port and we inspect the food, we will give the person who is importing the food, we will give them a wholesome food certificate if the food is good. Now, while going through the food and realize that there's a percentage of the food that is bad, then we will have to condemn the whole consignment, the whole container. Then we will give the importer what we call an unwholesome food certificate. These two certificates are legal documents. So you'll be able to go to the insurance company or go to, rate the people that you would have imported the food from, present that certificate, and you can get back your money's worth once that food has been insured. We said that there's some hazards that come from the air. There's some that come from the water. There's some there's some hazards that are found in the soil. Did I give you the names of those organisms that are found in the soil?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Can you tell me at least one of them? Don't bite your tongue, okay?
I can't call them one, but I know one start with B.
Uh-huh.
B, and the
Serious.
next one called with C.
Right. So it's Bacillus cereus. All right. Bacillus
Yes.
cereus, which is associated with cereal products. That's like rice and oats and barley. Most foods from the soil will have Bacillus cereus because Bacillus cereus is found in the soil. And then there's one called Clostridium botulinum. You remember I talked about Botox?
Yes.
Right. So this Clostridium botulinum is found in the soil. It is ubiquitous in the soil. In other words, wherever you pick up soil, you will find Clostridium botulinum. All right. The toxin that is derived from Clostridium botulinum, the organism, is 10 times more deadly than a rattlesnake bite. 1 tablespoon can kill up to 300 million people. It is that deadly. But you can find it in food. All right. So if you don't wash your onions, if you hardly wash your potatoes, any grown foods, and you use them, then and then you store the food in an improper manner, then you can put yourself at risk for Clostridium botulinum. Clostridium botulinum is also called a neurotoxin, so it prevents the electrical pulses from moving from your brain to other parts of your body. So at some point in time, you will have difficulty speaking, difficulty swallowing. You will have constipation as opposed to diarrhea. All right, and then you can have respiratory paralysis, where the hearts and the lung just decide not to work. All right, so it could be a very painful death, uncomfortable condition. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the screen with you to continue the presentation. All right, we're going to continue from where we would have left off. Everybody can see the presentation?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. That's somebody that's coming in. All right, hold on a minute. Okay.
Surrounded by your grace.
Okay.
Misha, we can hear you.
All right. So here we're looking at the hazards. Remember, we look at chemical, physical, and biological hazards. There are 3 types of hazards that can affect the safety of food. All right, you have that all written down. And here are some examples of these hazards. So you're looking at chemical hazards. Joy Squares.
Yes, please.
Did I send this presentation to you?
No, please.
Oh boy. All right. Sorry about that.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to have to send this presentation as well as presentation 2 so that you can have it readily. All right. Okay. All right. So with chemical hazards, you have food additives. Everybody know MSG? Ever heard about MSG? Monosodium glutamate?
No, sir.
Somebody said no? All right. Anybody ever look at the ingredients on some of the snacks and see flavor enhancer?
Like cheese sticks and cheese
Right.
sticks. Yeah.
All right, that is MSG. All right, it can make any detestable food taste good, but it's responsible for a lot of ailments in human beings. All right, so the Chinese use it readily. When they put on a pot of food, they put on a lot of oil, enough MSG. Um, then we have your preservatives. You have your nitrites and your nitrates. Now, your once upon a time when they were doing hot dogs and they manufacturing hot dogs, they used to use nitrites and nitrates. But then they realized that the nitrates could have done the work by itself. So you have your nitrates, which are supposed to um, enhance the color of food as well as kill all those organisms that are related to Clostridium botulinum. So yes, it has some good benefits. Again, if you use it in excess, it can cause some serious problems. And then you have your cleaning supplies, where you're looking at bleach and other sanitizers. Again, if you overuse them, there's a possibility they can contaminate the food. That is what we mean by chemical hazards. All right. Now, when we look at physical hazards, now we're looking at foreign matter. Excuse me. We're looking at foreign matter. You're looking at dirt and hair and broken glass. I'm sure that some of us have come across foreign matter in food already. That's why you have to pick your rice and have to pick your peas, because you're going to see some foreign matter in the peas. You're going to see dirt. You're going to see straw. You're going to see things that are not peas. Hence, they are foreign matter. So we look at chemical hazards. We can taste them. Then, when it comes to physical hazards, you can touch them. So once you see them around, you eliminate them. All right. Nobody want to be dealing with broken glass and hair and dirt and food. You get rid of that food, you eliminate. Now, when it comes to biological hazards, you're dealing with bacteria, you're dealing with parasites, you're dealing with viruses, you're dealing with fungi. I give you a few minutes to write down this. You're writing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, sir. All right, hold on.
Uh,
I just telling you that I wasn't writing. I know
Oh.
getting here.
okay. Then Leslon,
That is Tristan Brathwaite.
Brathwaite. Okay, you sound just like Leslon.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Excuse me, sir. Raekwon Jordan here as well.
Raquan Jordan. Okay. Last week we missed you, boy.
Oh yeah,
He
I
falling.
know,
He falling a well. He falling a well.
yeah, something like that.
Okay. Somebody else. The only two persons that joined not too long ago.
Is the only person that I can remember.
Okay. Matthew Hall is in. Okay.
Guess not.
All right. Okay. All right. So we have our bacteria. All right. So normally when you look at bacteria, when you look at this word is plural. The singular is bacterium, R-I-U-M. It's Latin, okay? And the plural will be bacteria. Then you have your parasites. Your parasites would include the pig parasite, the beef parasite. There's also the pig parasite swine is Tinea solium. All right. Then we have Tinea saginata, that is the cow's parasite. Then you have Trichinella spiralis, that is again another parasite that is associated with the rat and the pig. So the parasite is resident in the rat. The pig will eat the rat, and the parasite eggs will develop. if you consume on undercooked raw or undercooked pork, then there's that possibility you can come down with trichinosis. All right, this particular parasite, the cyst, the larvae is as small as the red blood cell. So when it gets into the stomach and the hydrochloric acid dissolves the shell of the larvae, you will have the larvae coming out from the shell, and it can pass through the bloodstream. It can go to the heart, can go to the lung, or it can even go to the brain. All right. So there are persons who might have suffered heart attacks that might be associated with trichinosis, or who would have suffered pulmonary embolism, where you have blockages in the lung that could have been caused by parasites. Or some persons might have suffered stroke that might have been caused by parasite going into the brain. All right, and blocking the main arteries. So these parasites can be very, very detrimental to your health. Then we have viruses. Now I want you to remember that when we're talking about viruses, to remember that hepatitis A and hepatitis E are foodborne viruses. Hepatitis A and E. Then you have your noroviruses and your rotaviruses. They too can cause some measure of discomfort. When we're looking at hepatitis, though, all of the hepatitis from A right down to F, they tell me, are potentially fatal in that they cause inflammation of the liver. All right. So hepatitis A can kill. Hepatitis B can kill you because it causes the liver to causes inflammation of the liver. Then you have your fungi, um, which might be manifested as yeast or mold. All right. So when you have the moldy cheese, you don't cut it off and eat the rest. You discard it. Everybody hear me? I mean the cheddar cheese. When you cut off the green part, you could better be cutting. That's like cutting down the branches and you leaving the trunk and the roots to consume. That in some cases can cause some serious problems. Now the thing about fungi, the yeast and the mold, they are visible. So you have the benefits of really discarding them and eliminating them. But when it comes to viruses and sometimes parasites and bacteria, they are almost like invisible. Hence, the food has to be cooked in a proper manner. All right? All right. So we're looking at molds. You don't have to write this down. Molds can be aerobic. In other words, they can grow in air. All right. They like moist and dry environments. They can live almost in any environment. They require oxygen for growth. And then you have your yeast. Yeast is very ubiquitous. In other words, it can be found any place. And they grow under aerobic and anaerobic conditions, meaning that they can grow where you get a lot of air or oxygen, or they can grow in low oxygen environments. All right, I want you to write this down. I want you to write down this potentially hazardous food. We look at this, we're looking at the risk factors. All right, we talk about hot, cold, improper hot, cold holding of PHF foods. Right, yeah, potentially hazardous foods. Those foods are high in protein, and they have enough moisture to support microbial or bacterial growth. So once upon a time, we used to talk about germs, but now we are talking about microbes and bacteria and microorganisms. I want you to remember those words. Those are that's a general name for good bacteria, bad bacteria, beneficial bacteria, etc. But later on, as you would have done earlier in the, we were looking at the risk factors. 2 or 3 weeks ago, you'll realize that there are certain names that can be designated to bacteria. All bacteria are not bad. All are not good. So we have beneficial bacteria, we have pathogenic organisms, and then we have those organisms that assist with digestion and help to fight bad bacteria. So we talk about bacterial growth, we talk about microbial growth. It is the same thing. All right? Everybody has that?
Yes, sir.
I can go ahead. Okay. All right. All right. All right. So here are some foods that are most likely to become contaminated. I want you to write this down too. You have your meat. We have like pork and fish. You have poultry. You have poultry. Okay. You have dairy products. And you also have rice. All right. Brianna Oliver is still here?
Yes, please.
Okay. Can you tell me why rice could be one of those foods that are most likely to become contaminated?
I know.
You don't know? Why? But you even give yourself a chance. Why do you think that rice could be one of those foods that are most likely to become contaminated? What was the organism that is associated with rice? Not too long ago. The one that start with B? The one that start with B?
Bacteria?
No, not
Bacteria?
bacteria. No, the organism that start with B that is found in the soil. Remember I said Bacillus cereus is Bacillus cereus is one of those organisms that are found in the soil.
Yes, sir. Yeah. You know,
Right.
you know.
Right. Bacillus cereus is found in the soil. Anybody know how rice is grown?
Yeah, you got a plant or something.
It is grow and it's dropped on the ground.
Yeah.
Or something.
Anybody here from Guyana? I thought I heard a Guyanese accent.
That's a VC accent.
A VC. Oh, okay. All right. Sometime ago I visited Suriname, and I often wondered how come wherever I go in Suriname, you always have water in the gutter. All right. And you have some like at the two sides of the houses. All right. They told me years ago, Suriname used to cultivate rice. So during the planting season, they would cut a drain, and the water would go over to the house. All right, will come from out of the gutter, go into the house, and they will plant their rice there. All right. Um, hold on. Yeah, they will plant the rice there. When it's time for reaping the rice, they would cut the drain again, and the water would drain out and go into the gutter, and they would then cultivate the rice. So the rice is always in water and soil. All right. Now, whenever, no matter what type of rice it is, basmati rice, Indian girl rice, chefware rice, all of the rice have what we call Bacillus cereus organisms on them. So whenever you start to cook your rice, and this is not to discourage you from eating rice, all right? Whenever you start to cook your rice, the organism form a hard crust around itself. So there are certain organisms, and Bacillus cereus is one of those, that will survive cooking. Not all of them. Bacillus cereus is one of them. Everybody understand me?
Yes, sir.
Right. When you start to cook the rice, because the organism now feels uncomfortable because of the heat, the organisms form a hard crust around themselves and survive the cooking. They survive the cooking. Now, if you only cook a pint of rice and you can eat all, then no problem. You will eat the organism, you will eat the encrusted organism, no problem. Everybody heard me? The problem comes about when you put now the food to cool down, or you leave back some and you leave it there for long periods of time. What will happen is that when those organisms, when those encrusted organisms now feel comfortable because the environment is conducive for growth, then they will start to sporulate. They will start to vegetate. And then those in that vegetative state, they produce toxins that can make you ill. So yes, the same thing can happen to soup. When you cook your soup, you will use onion, that is from the soil. You will use peas, that is from the soil. You will make dumpling, flour dumpling, that is from the soil. You'll put in your potatoes and yam and other, and what defenses we use? Defenses we use what?
You got saying it, dashing too.
Dashing, right. All of those are from the soil. And all of them will have the Bacillus cereus. So the organism will survive the cooking. If you drink the soup while it's hot, the fresh soup, no problem. The problem comes about when you say, look, I got left back some, and you do not cool it down properly. If you do not cool it down properly, then you can have some serious problems. You will either have a diarrheal illness or you will have a vomiting illness. Everybody. So that's the reason why we say that rice is one of those foods that are most likely to become contaminated because of its association with Bacillus cereus. Now, those countries like Guyana and Suriname and India, Japan, where they use a lot of cereal products, they have some serious problems with Bacillus cereus. Now, if you want to associate what Bacillus cereus is what foods is connected to, remember cereal. All right, Bacillus cereus, B cereus, cereal products, Bacillus cereus. Remember that. That's the association. All right. All right. So yes, we know that meat and poultry and dairy products are high protein foods, and we know that they can easily become contaminated. Hence, you have to make sure that they are stored properly. All right. All right. So let's look at kinds of bacteria. We talk about helpful bacteria. You would have written down some of the names I would have given you, right? Those who were here from week 1. Anybody remember Streptococcus thermophilus?
Yes, sir.
Lactobacillus bulgaricus?
Yes, sir.
Lactobacillus acidophilus?
Yes, sir.
Right. Those are helpful bacteria. They are helpful bacteria which assist in the production of food. So the production of yogurt and cottage cheese, you will use these organisms. All right. Then you have your spoilage organisms. Spoilage organisms break down food. All right. Ziona, you're there? Ziona? Bodhi? All right, some people logging on and they're in a party way. Go on sleep. All right. Kiara Greenwich. You're there? Jordan, you're there?
Real one, sir?
Yeah. You're there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're looking at spoilage organisms.
Mm-hmm.
Can spoilage organism make you sick?
I think the last time I hear that, I think you had told us no.
Right. It's still no.
It's
Still
still
no,
no.
Jordan. Yeah, still no.
Fair enough.
Spoilage organisms contribute to the breakdown of the food item. Remember how you know that cake is spoiling? You buy a piece of cake.
Smell or something.
The smell and it started to shrink.
And pull.
Yeah.
When you break it, it pulling, right?
Yeah.
Right. Next month is conky time. And if you do your conkies and leave them overnight, some people like to leave them outside. And you go for your conkies the next morning, you break the conky pulling. So if you say you put it too much of milk, my milk got it like that. Or coconut. All right. So the evidence of spoilage will be slime and the particular food pulling. All right. Then you have your pathogens. Your pathogens introduce contamination that may cause illness. So we talk about Bacillus cereus. We talk about Clostridium botulinum. We talk about Shigella, the organism that is found in stool. We talk about Salmonella, the organism that is found in human gut and in eggs and poultry. Those are pathogens.
Sir,
Yes, please.
not crossing you. Where exactly you saying these notes?
I'm going to send them to I'm going to send it to Joy Squares, all right? So that all of you can get them. Or yeah, I will do that. I will do that. I can do that by this weekend or so. Weekend on Monday or so. All right? So that you can get them. At first I thought I had sent them, but somehow they didn't go through. No, I didn't send them, sorry. I didn't send them. But remember to send the presentations for you. Joy, I think I'm going to send the whole 9 modules for you, okay?
Alrighty.
So that you can distribute them to the person. And they are very, very big, but you have all the presentations when I send them. All right? Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. So you have your good bacteria, you have your spoilage organisms, you have your pathogens, you have your benign organisms. All right. Those are the ones that will work with the good bacteria to help fight off bad bacteria. All right. All right. Everybody finished writing this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So the next slide is going to give you an idea of spoilage organisms. You don't have to write this down, all right? But you'll realize you'll realize that with spoilage organisms, they carry the same name. All right, so in this class you have two Williams, right? I think so. One called Ronisha Williams and
Yeah, we do.
Williams. Right. So when it comes to bacteria, you have the organism with the same name, one that will cause illness, while there is another one that will cause spoilage. So we talk about Clostridium botulinum that will cause an illness, but there's also the bacteria with the name Clostridium that will affect fish and meat and cause off odors and flavors and soft rot. You have your lactobacillus. Remember, we talked about lactobacillus bulgaricus. That is a good bacteria. But we also have lactobacillus with the same name that can cause slime and gas production in vacuum packed and processed meat and bacon and milk and wine. All right. You have streptococcus. Remember, we talked about streptococcus thermophilus. That is the organism that, again, is a good bacteria, but it can cause off odors and flavors in fresh and processed meat and milk. Then you have your bacillus. We talk about bacillus cereus that can cause off odors and ropiness. When you break the bread and you see see it pulling, we call it rope. All right, it can cause that type of phenomena in cooked products and milk and bread. Then you have your mold that can cause problems with fruits and vegetables. All right, so things like grapes and strawberries and blueberries. Once you wash them and put them in the fridge, they start to deteriorate, and you will see this furriness or softness. All right. Then you have your yeast. All right, that can cause problems in jams and other preserves. You have your yeast in cheese. You know, the green part of the cheese that you slice off. All right. Then you have your beer and your wine. Majority of the beer and the wine are normally in colored bottles because the sunlight can cause some um, serious problems with off odors and sourness and cloudiness. All right. So yes, you can have certain organisms with the same name that can cause illness as well as causing spoilage. I want you to remember that. All right. These are the shapes of bacteria, certain bacteria. So the bacteria there that is at number 2, that's the bacteria that you would normally find in your hand, staphylococci. It's like a bunch of grapes. Then you have bacillus at number 5, which is elongated. Then you have your streptobacillus, which is an elongated chain. And then you have number 7, spirilla, um, which is used. You know, this particular organism is the organism that causes leptospirosis. The leptospiral organism shapes like that. That's why it corkscrew itself to your kidneys and cause some serious deterioration in the kidneys. All right, I want you to write this down. You're looking at the conditions that are favorable for the growth of germs or bacteria or microbes. I'm going to give you a few minutes to write this down and then we can proceed. Sorry. All right, there's someone with the name AKIEL. That is so. Hello? AK AKIEL. Who is that, please? Um NICOV is so. Nikov. All right, everybody finished rating that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So whenever you're looking at the conditions that are favorable for the growth of germs or bacteria, we're going to be looking at a what we call an acronym: FATOM. F for food, A for acid, T for time, T for temperature, O for oxygen, M for moisture. Everybody got that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So when we talk about food, what type of food we talking about? Kiara is there? Kiara Greenwich.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what type of food we're talking about when we're talking about food?
The food is eat.
What type? Yeah, food to eat. Me like chips and then sort of things, so
Yeah.
snacks.
Anything that goes in your mouth and you swallow and you
Anything?
chew. Yeah. Protein.
Yeah, high protein food. High protein food, Kiara.
This
High
Chanel.
protein food.
This
Yeah.
Chanel, not Kiara.
Chanel. Yeah. No, I was referring to. I know it's somebody different. All right, but I was just letting Kiara know. Yes, thank you, Chanel. All right. So Kiara, whenever we talk about food, when it comes to food safety, we talk about food that are high in protein, meats,
Okay, sir.
dairy products, poultry. All right. Um, want to write this down. Yeah. So you're looking at high protein foods, potentially hazardous foods. They are preferred by bacteria. Those are the same foods that we like. Remember what must happen. We have to reduce the amount of organisms that are in those foods to an insignificant amount. If we do not reduce those organisms, we are liable to become sick. We have to reduce those organisms to insignificance. We can't get rid of all, but once we bring down the numbers to low numbers, all right, then we can say we have food that is 100% safe. So let us deal with Shigella. Shigella has a minimum effective dose of between 10 to 12 cells, which is very, very infectious. So you have to cook your food properly so as to reduce the amount of Shigella that is on the particular food. I don't know how much of that food you're gonna eat once you know that food got on stool. I don't know, but um, you want to reduce those organisms to below 10 to 12. In the case of certain types of salmonella, the minimum effective dose is like something like 100,000 cells. If you bring them down to about 10,000, once your constitution is okay, then the food is safe. All right. Anybody ever heard about cholera? Cholera.
Yes, sir.
All right. Is cholera? No, not cholera. Cholera is waterborne. It's an organism. Anybody ever heard about typhoid fever? Sorry, typhoid fever.
From mosquitoes,
No. No.
flies,
No. But flies can transmit
typhoid fever.
the organism. All right. When the flies go in the filth or the stool, then they can bring it back to human beings and land on their food. Now, typhoid fever is um, one of those diarrheal illness that is extremely infectious. It is it is it is transmitted by the organism Salmonella typhi. All right, Salmonella typhi, Typhi. All right, as I said, the minimum effective dose is 1 cell. So it doesn't matter whether you're strong or not, whether you are sick or not, you will come down ill with Salmonella typhi once you consume that food that has been contaminated. Once you have that, eat that food that's contaminated with Salmonella typhi. We had an outbreak years ago, um, and they had to carry the lady to the hospital and take out her gallbladder because the organism had retreated into her gallbladder. Yes, she had the organism. Yes, it is very infectious, but she was what you call a carrier. So you can be a carrier of salmonella. You could be a carrier of listeriosis. You could be a carrier for Shigella, and you're perfectly healthy. You're going to school, putting on your mask, everything, but you are a carrier. When they test your stool, it has high counts of those organisms. Okay. All right. So yes, they had to take out the lady's gallbladder because she used to sell putney sauce. Uh, Sardines. She made a lot of people sick. So when they
Where
did,
she used to sell it, sir?
um, it was in Darrow's Road.
She's still selling it?
No, that was like 1957,
Oh,
late
oh, oh,
50s
oh,
and
oh.
early 60s. All right.
Oh, oh,
Um, so when they trace it, they had contact tracing in the days, contact tracing ain't only related to COVID. All right. So they found her, they carried her to the doctor, they tested her stool, they realized that she was a carrier. They had to take out the organism from, they had to take out her gallbladder. All right. So we're dealing with high protein foods. All right, let's look at acidity. I don't want you to write all of this. Just you say where the cursor is. It says it is measured using a pH scale. I want you to write from there. All right. Everybody know about the pH scale, right? Or some of you.
Yeah, I got an idea.
Okay, it starts from which number?
I ain't too sure though. I know that one number part.
Okay. Starts on 0 and it goes to 14. Now 0 is high acid, while 14 is high alkaline. Everybody got that? So when it comes to food, you have a pH scale. All of the foods have a pH value. All right. Water has a pH value. Water has a pH value of 7. Everybody knew that? Water is neutral. All right. Now, can anybody tell me? Um, Felisa Hall, you're there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you tell me where lime would fall? Would it fall close to 0 or close to 14? Lime,
Close to 0.
because lime is acid, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Jordan. Jordan used to work at Sign Lane. All right. Jordan, where would you find egg white? Would egg white be high acid, neutral, or alkaline? Egg white.
Um, I taking a wild guess
Go
Neutral.
ahead. Go
and
ahead.
say neutral.
I just looked at water neutral.
Mm, so I guess it would be. I guess I know it. Yeah, I say it for sure.
Okay, so it has to be alkaline. All right, because there's some people. Okay, you know that there's some people who use bare egg white, and you can use egg white for making icing sugar and all that. Icing, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Right. Now, egg white is alkaline. It's between 8.0 to 9.0. All right? Alkaline. While the egg yolk is slightly acid. The egg yolk has a pH value of 6.5, which is slightly acid. Everybody with me? So when, when
Yes,
Yes,
you're
sir.
look
sir.
when you're looking at when you're looking at when you're looking at uh, um the egg it has been phenomenally made. All right, you have the egg white, which has a pH value of 8.0 to 9.0. So in the egg white, you will not find pathogenic organisms multiplying. You won't find them at all because that environment is hostile. You will find egg white. Sorry, you will find pathogenic organisms or salmonella in the egg yolk. Everybody with me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we is, sir.
All right. So the egg white is alkaline. The egg yolk is slightly acid. Chicken is slightly acid, 6.5, a pH value of 6.5. All right. Milk is slightly acid, 6.5. Now, you will find that pathogenic organisms love those foods that are slightly acid and slightly alkaline. Then the pathogenic organisms love food that fall between 6, a pH value of 6 to 8. So from 6 to 7 is slightly acid, from 7 to 8 is slightly alkaline. So we can safely say that pathogenic organisms love food that are slightly acid and slightly alkaline. Please remember that. Now, pathogenic organisms cannot live from all over the spectrum of the pH scale. Cannot. It only lives between 6 to 7. In some cases, you have certain organisms that can go down to maybe 4.6. And the rule tells you that pathogenic organisms do not grow well. Pathogenic organisms do not grow well below a pH value of 4.6. So that has implications for you putting lime on fish and on chicken. Now you have your chicken that has a pH value of 6.5, and then you have lime that has a pH value of 2.0. So you squeeze a generous amount of lime on the chicken, you will reduce the growth of the bacteria. Everybody heard me?
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, let me admit this person here.
So when
Yeah, go ahead.
what is so with salt, right? You don't use lemon salt chicken.
Yeah,
So
with the salt, let's do.
how much would be the pH value for salt?
For
I mean,
salt,
like if it's too much,
no,
it will add up to
explain yourself
like
again.
how you say lime is
2.0.
2.0 pH,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Where do we put? Yeah, we do it to talk you talk the chicken, you lime and salty.
Yeah, yeah.
So the lime and the salt is work together. So I mean, like if it is that the lime is 2.0, how much salt will be?
Oh, okay, okay. It doesn't necessarily work like that. What happens is that the lime will bring down the pH value of the chicken, while the salt will pull the moisture from out of the chicken. Now, remember earlier we said that potentially hazardous foods are those foods that are high in protein and have enough moisture to support the growth of bacteria. But the more you reduce the moisture in any food, the less likely you will have bacteria um, able to survive. So what is happening is that you're bringing down the pH value of the food. You're making it difficult for the pathogenic organisms to survive. You're pulling the water out of the chicken. You're making it doubly difficult for the pathogenic organism, whether it's Campylobacter or Salmonella, to survive. You understand me?
So, sir,
Yeah.
you're saying that it's wrong for hotels to be not using lemon salt to.
No, no, I am not saying that.
Wait,
When it comes,
but you just said that lime and salt good for
yeah,
chicken
yeah,
meat.
it's good. All right, but don't forget the rule in the hospitality industry is that whenever you put salt or lime, whenever you put lime to any fish or chicken, it starts to cook the meat and it starts to change the color. So rather than use lime and salt, they would prepare the fish, prepare the potential hazardous food with no salt or lime in its preparation. But at the end, when it's finished, they will give you the option of using the salt shaker or to put a wedge of lime. Sorry about that. I don't think that's COVID, okay? That ain't COVID.
That the Chinese rat. Yeah.
I don't eat meat, so I'm when trying to eat no rat on that. So okay, all right. So yes, what will happen is that what are you talking about?
The lemon salt for
Right.
the meats.
So in the hospitality industry, they would do their fish with the minimum amount of marination and all that, and then they will give you a choice. They will give you a wedge of lime, and they will give you the salt shaker so as to season your fish. All right.
So them is right.
I would say it's right and wrong. Is what is pleasing to the eye. Hey, 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 hey. But on your mute your mic, please. Mute your mic. All right. All right. Yeah, I ain't saying it right or wrong. But I'm saying that in the hospitality industry, a lot depends on where your eye see, right? So if your eye could see something that look good, then it could um activate your taste buds and all that is so. That's why at home you put no cuckoo, you stick up cuckoo with a pot spoon. So it looked like Barbados. Ones look like Barbados. The first one does look like Barbados. When you take the second one, it looked like St. Vincent. Not so at a hotel or a restaurant. They would take out the cuckoo with a what's call it. The same thing as take out ice cream with. What's called that?
A scoop.
A scoop. So they will put 3 scoops and the scoops look nice like tennis balls, and then they put gravy on it. But when we home, we take out 3 spoons of cocoa, and the cocoa look like Barbados, Trinidad, and Tobago, and Saint Vincent. And then we pour the gravy pan it come up to the top. That's how we like we cocoa. That's breadfruit cocoa or cornmeal cocoa. Not so in a hotel or restaurant. They you cater more to where your eyes see. So they tell me fish like trout, if you put lemon salt to trout, it's going to change it from that orange color to white. And they don't want that. They want that all throughout the whole process. You have your orange color that is appealing to the eye. All right? Am I making sense?
Yes, sir. Making a lot of sense.
Okay. All right. Let's look at time. Um, remember we talk about food, acidity, time. All right. I want you to write down um, write down time is probably the most important factor in bacterial growth. I want to write down time and temperature are the most important factors in food safety. Time and temperature are the most important factors in food safety. Remember we're talking about cooking chicken to 165 degrees Fahrenheit for how long? All right, when you done right now.
140.
No, how about seconds? How much seconds?
Oh,
10
What
to
is
20.
50 seconds.
15 seconds. 15.
15 seconds.
Right. And beef and pork 155 degrees Fahrenheit for
You same 15. No, 20
15
seconds.
seconds. 20 seconds.
15 again. And fish 145 degrees Fahrenheit for
15.
15 seconds. We're dealing with time and temperature. Time and temperature are the most important factors in bacterial growth and in food safety. So you have the lag phase, you have the log phase, you have the stationary phase, and then you have the decline or the death phase. I want you to pay close attention to um, this particular point that I'm bringing out. This will come in the exam. All right? This is going to come in the exam. You have your lag phase, you have your log phase, you have your stationary phase, and you have your decline phase. Everybody finished right this, eh? Sorry. Everybody finished right this, right? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want you to look at this particular all right. I want you to draw this graph. I want you to put graph showing the 4 phases of bacterial growth, and then your vertical line will say the log of the number of bacteria, and your vertical line will say log of the number of bacteria. Your horizontal line will put it in time. All right, so you have the growth of bacteria with time. All right. And this is the graph showing the 4 phases of bacterial growth. We said we have the lag phase, the log phase, the stationary phase, and the death or decline phase. All right, everybody got that? No.
Not yet, sir. Wait.
Wait, sir.
Okay. Now I'm moving from there and just explain um explain each phase. All right. So which phase? Which is the first phase again?
Like this.
Like,
Right, the like phase. All right. Now, when you look at the like phase, you realize that time is running. All right. Let me show you. Time is running, but there is no increase in the number of cells. All right. So we're saying that whenever you introduce bacteria to a particular environment, what will happen is that the bacteria will not start growing immediately. The bacteria will have a number of things to organize before they start to grow. Bacteria must make sure that the temperature is right. Bacteria must make sure that the relative humidity is okay. Bacteria will make sure that they have enough space to grow. Bacteria will try to find out if they have enough food in order to move from the like phase to the log phase. So in the like phase, there is no increase in the number of cells. In the like phase, this is the phase that you as a person, I as a person can have control. All right. Now, if we allow the bacteria to move from the like phase to the log phase, all right, what will happen is that there is an increase in the number of cells over a short period of time. So the log phase is that phase where they grow by a process called binary fission. Let me write it down so that you can see it. Binary fission. Where can I? Let's say annotate text. Wait, right. Okay. They multiply by a phase. They split by a process called binary. Binary. FISSION. Everybody can see that?
yes, sir.
Okay. So they split every 20 minutes and then multiply by a process called binary fission. All right. So right now it is 3:30. If you have one bacterium here and it has satisfied all the criteria for the like phase, it has enough food, it has enough space, the temperature is right, the relative humidity is right, then in 20 minutes time, that is 10 minutes to 4 o'clock, that one bacterium will split into two. All right. By 4:30 this afternoon, you will have 8 bacteria. By 5:30, you will have 8 times 8, which is 64 bacteria. At 3:30 tomorrow morning, if there's enough food and space, you can have billions and billions of bacteria. Just because they split by a process called binary fission. All right. All right. Let me. Okay. Clear. All right. Now, they will continue to multiply as long as the conditions are right. There comes a time when they get to the stationary phase. Can anybody tell me what is happening at the stationary phase? Well, tell me what you think is happening.
So that one will
Decrease
stop
again?
multiplying.
They will start multiplying. And somebody, a female voice will say what?
It
What if you,
went back, it start decreasing.
not decreasing? There is no increase. Whenever you see a parallel line to the horizontal line, it means that nothing is happening. There's no increase, there's no decrease. So what is happening here in the stationary phase is that there's very little food because the organism would have used up the food. There's very little space because the space has been taken up with bacteria as well as toxins, or let me say with the waste product of the organisms. Now, if you want to go to the toilet, you can easily, I want to know that, I'll go to the toilet. But bacteria can't do that. They have to produce the, in the same place you have bacteria, you have waste. And in some cases, the waste is toxic. In other cases, the waste is not toxic. All right. So what would have happened here is that because there's very little food around, there's no increase in the number of cells. So if 50 cells come on the scene, 50 will die. Now, bacteria cannot live forever. So what will happen is that they will go into what we call the death phase. That's where when they start to decrease now. All right. So there are certain organisms that will produce toxins in the stationary phase. Organisms like Bacillus cereus, organisms like Clostridium botulinum, organisms like Staphylococcus aureus, they will produce toxins, and they will produce toxins in the stationary phase. Now, so I'm not saying that salmonella, they will produce waste, but when they die off in the death phase, they become toxic. So organisms like Shigella, salmonella, they become toxic when they die off. So that has implications for diseases. There's certain organisms, when you eat them, you become sick within 2 to 6 hours. There are others that you have to wait until about 72 hours, 6 to 72 hours before you become ill. And that is
So I
because
should go for the death
of
first.
everybody listening?
You
All
should go over
because
the
of,
death first.
pardon?
Can you go over the death first?
If I can go by the,
Can you go over the death
oh,
first?
okay, all right. Now I'm saying that organisms cannot live forever, and some of them will die. All right, some of them will die. Some will form a hard crust around themselves. In the death phase, organisms like Salmonella and Shigella, all right, when they die off, they become toxic. All right, but those organisms like Staph and Clostridium botulinum and Bacillus cereus, they are toxic in the stationary phase. All right. So the death phase is when the organism, there's no food around, and the organism just die off. All right. Everybody got that?
Yeah, sir.
All right. So I gotta rehearse this again.
You fucking idiot is a surveyor. Just answer the questions, big man. Jesus, please.
Mute your mic, please. Mute your mic.
Sir.
Mute your mic. Mute your mic.
Sir.
Mute your mic, please. All right. What happens in the like phase? Jessica Thomas, you are there? Jessica Thomas, you are there?
No.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What happens in the like phase?
I honestly don't know what's going on.
Okay. You want me to go over it again? Everybody want me to go over it again? Hello?
You could go over it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So in the like phase, you have organisms in a dormant state. That's like what the word says, like. All right. Hold on a minute, please. Hold on a minute, please.
You know you're the porky gobbler. You know? Like the girl tell me that this kid, she's so good she can't believe it, but she never know that tongue was doing so.
Wanna mute, wanna mic.
Mute the mics, please. All right. So in the like phase, just as the word says, they're lagging, they're dormant. They're the organisms are looking for the right temperature. They're looking for the right relative humidity. They're looking to see if they have enough food. They're looking to see if they have enough space. And when all of those conditions have been satisfied, they will move from the like phase to the log phase. Everybody got that? Jessica?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you got that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, when all of those conditions have been satisfied, they will move from the like phase to the log phase. The log phase is when they start to multiply by a process called binary fission. They will split every 20 minutes. So if you have 8 at 338, at 438, you will have 8 times 8. The bacteria has enough food, it has enough space, and they will multiply. The time comes when they have used up all of the food, they have used up all of the space. All right? Then they go into the stationary phase where they're trying to conserve, preserve life because there's very little food, there's very little space. It doesn't make sense to multiply because there is very little food. So there's certain organisms that will try to survive this type of condition by forming a hard crust around themselves. Organisms like Bacillus cereus. All right, I'm making sense? Rihanna?
Yes, sir.
Sir.
Rihanna? Your mommy out there, right? Check. If your mommy there, move my car. My car move? Yeah. Like pick one? I go for them. Yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. All right. So in the stationary phase, because there's very little food, there's very little space, they, they, some of them will try to survive by forming a hard crust around themselves. It is in this phase also that you can have toxins being produced. All right. Now in the death phase, they will die off. Some of those organisms that I mentioned, like Salmonella and Shigella, will become toxic. All right. All right. As we go through from week after week, I will make a reference to this particular phase. All right. This particular part of food safety where we look at the time so that you can get it and you can understand it even more. All right. Okay. All right. Gee, what happened here? All right. All right. Just hold on a minute, please. Let me get back my bearings. Okay. Hey, hey. Facility. All right. So yes, we're here by time. All right. Let me look at this. Let me see if this thing here gonna work. All right. No, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. All right. I'm gonna stop sharing and go back to share again. Okay. All right. All right. So all right, let's go to temperature. Let's go to temperature. Um, remember we said that time and temperature are the most important factors. All right. And we would have dealt with the temperature danger zone when we look at the risk factors. All right. I want you to write down this part in red. All right. Don't bother with the most pathogenic organisms. Just write down temperature danger zone is 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140, which is the same as 4.4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. I want you to remember that.
So,
Sir, I
Hello?
can't see that.
You can?
I
Sorry,
see a
sorry.
red screen.
Or sorry about that. Sorry about that. Stop sharing. Sorry about that. All right, you can say it now.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, just write the part that's written in red. Temperature danger zone is 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the same as 4.4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. Pardon? Okay. Okay, so for Brandon. Tell Loma if you come out. Huh? Call my ass. Yeah. Remember the temperature danger zone. 40 to 140. Keep hot foods hot, keep cold foods cold. Do not allow potentially hazardous foods to fall between 40 degrees to 140 degrees Fahrenheit for long periods of time. All right, remember that. All right, so here we have a germograph. We have the danger zone where you want to keep out high risk foods. Bacteria multiply at a prolific rate in the temperature danger zone, but they become very sleepy or dormant in the below 4 degrees Celsius. This is you see the 4 degrees Celsius? This is the temperature that will put bacteria in the lag phase. This danger zone is where bacteria will multiply. That's what we call the log phase. All right. Remember, we can refer to the time factor as we go through these presentations. All right. Okay. I want to write this down. We look at food, acidity, time, temperature. We're looking at oxygen. When we're looking at oxygen, we're looking at air. We're looking at the various categories of pathogenic organisms. All right. Remember that earlier we had talked about germs, microorganisms, microbes, microbial. We talk about microbial growth. We talk about bacterial growth. All right. Now we are dividing. We have selected the pathogenic organisms, those organisms that make people ill, and we are going to be putting them in 3 categories. You're going to have the aerobes, the anaerobes, and the facultative anaerobes. So the aerobes are those organisms that love air. Remember, girls like to go to aerobic classes. Oxygen. They love oxygen. Bacillus cereus is an aerobic spore-forming organism. All right. Then we have the anaerobes. The anaerobes are those organisms that will live without oxygen. Those are the organisms that will live in cans and bottles, canned and bottled foods. All right. Those are the ones that will live in canned and bottled foods. Then you have the facultative anaerobes that will live with or without oxygen. Those are the most dangerous ones. So an example of a facultative anaerobe will be like Salmonella, E. coli, Shigella, while an example of an anaerobe will be Clostridium botulinum. And the example of an aerobe will be Bacillus cereus. Let me go over that again. Aerobes, an example of an aerobe will be Bacillus cereus. An example of an anaerobe will be Clostridium botulinum. And examples of facultative anaerobes would be Salmonella, Shigella, and Salmonella, Shigella, and E. coli. Everybody got that?
So the okay.
Facultative anaerobes, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
These are the ones that live without and without air.
With and without air, yeah. So you got vacuum pack products, vacuum pack hot dogs and things, so right? What they do, they pollute
Yeah.
the air from out of the bag so as to make sure that certain organisms do not live in there. But organisms like Salmonella and Shigella will live whether you got air or not. All right?
Sir, you could go over the examples one more thing. Examples
Okay.
again.
No problem. Aerobes will be Bacillus cereus, the organism that is associated with cereal products.
All right. Yeah, I got that one.
Okay. The anaerobes will be associated with those. The anaerobes, an example of an anaerobe would be Clostridium botulinum. All right. So if you have air around, it will kill off Clostridium botulinum. Anybody ever heard about disease? We used to call it in Barbados tetanus, but it's tetanus. You ever hear about tetanus?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Tell me what you know about tetanus.
You live on like Westlake.
Right. It's live on rust. What else?
It's from the ground also.
It's from the ground
Come from the ground.
also. Yeah. So if you get a nail puncture, especially with a rusty nail, you're putting yourself at risk if you put on plaster on it and bandage it up. All right? Because you're giving it the right environment for growth. And so people have died from tetanus. They've died from tetanus. And you need not die from tetanus. So if you keep the wound open where it is exposed to air, there's always that possibility that you can kill off those spores that will cause the toxin to form. So the organism that causes tetanus is called Clostridium tetani. All right? Clostridium tetani. So you have to be, again, very, very careful for those of you who play football when you get like burnouts, because some of the organisms are in the soil and can cause the skin to become infected and possibly cause you to lose your limbs. All right. So for you who are involved in contact sports, where you might get fall down and get grayed up and things, so make sure you go and get your tetanus shot. All right. Okay. All right. Let us look at the next 9 minutes or so. Let's look at moisture. Now we talk about food, acidity, time, temperature, oxygen, and moisture. Now, one of the ladies would have asked about the salt. All right, the salt, applying salt to meat and other foods, meat primarily. You're going to pull the water from out of the meat, and by doing that, you're making sure that the environment is hostile for the growth of bacteria. If any of you in the army or in the cadets, you realize that majority of the foods that you consume while you are in the wild when you're doing your exercises in the wild are dry foods. You don't care a long piece of chicken leg and soup and sauce and all sorts of things. You don't want your soldiers to be suffer from diarrhea while fighting a war. So one of the things that that they developed was dry foods. You just put a little moisture to it and you eat it and it fill up your belly. It's just as nutritious. All right. So what they did, they pulled the water from dehydrate the food. When you dehydrate the food, you make it less likely for bacteria to grow. All right. So bacteria need what we call available water in order to grow. All right. I'm going to show you a, a, a graph, a table looking at the available water value of certain foods. So for water, it is 1.0. That is the benchmark. For fresh meat, it is 0.9 to 0.99. But we say that pathogenic organisms prefer AW values of around 0.99. They cannot grow below an AW value of 0.89. So drier your food, the better it is as far as food safety is concerned. Everybody getting me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So you won't find salmonella growing in granulated sugar because it's too dry. All right. So remember, when you dehydrate food, you're making it hostile for pathogenic organisms. All right. You don't have to you don't have to write down this this table. All right. So I'm gonna change back. All right. So when it comes to available water levels, they can be reduced by freezing. That's why you freeze the chicken. You lock up the moisture so as to make sure that the pathogenic organisms cannot multiply. It's only when you start to thaw out the chicken that you give the organism Salmonella and Campylobacter the opportunity now to start to multiply. As long as it's frozen, they cannot grow. All right, you can dehydrate, you can use your salt, you can use your sugar to dehydrate fruits, to dehydrate meats and other potentially hazardous foods. I'm going to stop here today, all right, because I think that we would have done quite a bit, um, probably too much. All right. Yes, please.
I want to talk to you after class, please.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So everybody that is present here, with the exception of Miss Watson, would have done the exercise
Yes, sir. You mean what we had to hand in the library?
and submitted it, right?
Two other new people, so
Sir.
you know.
Okay. Who are the two new people?
What's your name? Is Daria something? And Terrell something.
Terrell
Terrell who?
Lex.
Lex. Okay.
LEPPS.
Okay, okay. All right. All right. All right. So I have here Joy Squares, Brianna Olivier, um, Raquelia, Hope, Ashton, Mears, Williams, Griffith, L. Griffith, Jessica Thomas, Camilla Griffith, Cornell Gibbs, Greenwich, Hall, Aline, Tiara, Ronisha Williams, Felisa Hall, Lowe, Anderson, Jordan, Hinkson. Somebody here right fine, man. Oh, Matthew Howell and Tristan Brathwaite. All right. Um, so Joy Squares,
Yes, please.
you still have the link. You still have the link for the particular exercise, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so you can send it to Miss Watson and the other new person.
Okay.
All right. All right.
The
And
two new
then,
person.
pardon?
It's 3 in total.
3 in total. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Send them that. You say you this class is not at Palmerine on Mondays, right?
No,
Nah.
we are off this Monday.
Okay. All right. All right. All right. The library assistant is not going to take the what do you call it? Unless I call her. All right. On Monday, I am going to go to the library assistant, to the people in the library, and tell them to take the assignments. All right. All right. So for those who do not have the assignment, please do them. Yeah, please do it so that you can hand them in on Tuesday. I will try probably on Wednesday or Thursday to pass and pick them up. All right.
So you done mark them?
No, I just got them yesterday and
Oh,
I didn't mark them.
all right. Pay attention.